Welcome to our last council meeting of the year. We're doing it virtually so we can record it and so people can watch it online if they weren't able to join in person tonight. So we begin every meeting in person or online, we'd like to begin with our land acknowledgement. The Hamilton Wentworth District School Board acknowledges our presence on ancestral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee Confederacy land as determined by the Dish with One Spoon Treaty. The Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt represents the treaty relationship between the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and Anishinaabe with respect to sharing the land and resources thereon. The intent of this agreement is for all nations sharing this territory to do so responsibly, respectfully, and sustainably in perpetuity. We respect the longstanding relationships with the local indigenous communities, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Six Nations of the Grand River. And so tonight, we're gonna just start off with our principal's report with Ms. Sykes, and then so we're going to talk about graduation, Culture Fest, and upcoming council elections for next year. So I'll turn it over to you, Sonia.
Thanks so much, Catherine. Good evening, everyone. Very happy to have you join us virtually, and we record our times together so that if you're not able to make us, you can always go to our link on our website, which will take you to a YouTube channel where we house our school council meetings. So I just want to talk a little bit about our celebrations to come. So a little bit of looking ahead as well as looking back. So the last very big first for Bernie Custis is our upcoming commencement celebrations, which is going to be taking place at the end of this month on June 29th at Hamilton Convention Center, and it'll be run from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So any students, any grade students, whether they are officially graduating with their high school diploma or certificate, or whether they're still, in process towards their certificate or diploma, are invited to celebrate with their loved ones. And so if your student is in grade 12 and has not received a grad package, they can go to their student services or guidance department, and they will assist them with a grad package and provide some tickets for family members. And we're looking forward to our very first commencement. We've had some things that we can share that we look back on since we last came together. We did in our last meeting, we talked a little bit about the difference between graduation and commencement. And graduation is that traditional celebration for students who are graduating from high school, but the HWDSB is now moving towards a commencement model so that all students can celebrate with their peers. And we acknowledge that everybody has different time frames and timelines in being successful in earning either their high school diploma or certificate, and then thereon, moving into various pathways, whether it's university, college, the world of work, apprenticeship. There's many pathways that students can follow, but we just wanted to let all our parents and caregivers and guardians know that the move to commencement is really to be more inclusive and to acknowledge that students have various timelines. So we had a grad breakfast in May, and that was a morning of celebration of our students, and it was hosted by our hospitality department, and our two teachers, Ms. Klopfer and Ms. Paduano, helped serve a delicious breakfast for our students. And then they heard the speeches of various students who were nominated to represent them at the commencement. And our two students who have been selected by their peers to celebrate their last 4 years or the years of that has brought them to being class of 2022 were selected, and we look forward to those two students giving their co-valedictorian speeches highlighting the last 4 years as students, as well as looking ahead to their various pathways. On the 2nd of June, we had our very first prom at Bernie Custis. And again, this year is a year of many firsts. So we were really excited that our students were able to celebrate together with their peers on June 2nd. And we had about, I believe, 250 students. I think about 200 students, and it was just a wonderful evening. Students came however they wanted to be, either decked out in gowns and suits or a little bit more casual wear, and all were welcome. It was a wonderful evening of just fun and lots of picture taking and dancing and laughter. So we're really excited that our students were able to celebrate in a safe manner. And as I said, our wrapping up of the last of our first at Bernie Custis is our commencement that's happening on June 29th. Looking back, the last time at our last meeting, we had a chance to be introduced to our Bernie Custis equity team. And through the work of our equity team and Kathy Woods, who is joining us again tonight, specifically under her leadership, we had our very first Bernie Custis Culture Fest. And it was students celebrating all aspects of identity and culture. And it wasn't just always about, it wasn't just about where they were from, but it's how they identify. So as you can see from the pictures, there were students who put together displays based on, their geographical preference that best identifies them. We had members of our equity team that had their own display, capturing student voice, asking students what is the best way that they like to celebrate their identity at Bernie Custis. Ms. Woods invited many members of our community partners into the space just to share their information and help students become connected. We had a delightful display of sweet treats and teas from around the world, as well as students came up, as you can see from the one picture, just sharing and showcasing elements of their culture, be it dance or music or song or playing instruments. And then the top picture on that slide just represents some of the identity groups that were present that day. So students who were in the positive space group had a display and a table. We had our grad coach, Chad, who displayed aspects of Black culture. I mean, all different aspects of identity were on display, and it really was an exciting day of energy and fun. And again, we want to say, many thanks to Ms. Wood and to the equity team and other teachers who volunteer their time and energies to support our students in celebrating all that makes them who they are. This is just a recap of the equity team that they shared with us last time, in which 12 members, both teachers and EAs, who meet regularly, and they learn together, they share problems of practice, they look for ways to support and activate and mobilize based on student voice and feedback. And as I said at the Culture Fest, the equity team was gathering data, asking students how best Bernie Custis can visually represent their culture or represent their identities, and we'll have more to share in the new year. One piece that I like to share in terms of what the HWDSB is doing to support students in feeling safe, both psychologically as well as physically, is the tool that I'm about to share with you. And it's a tool that helps staff learn how to move along the spectrum from bystander to ally. And it's a tool that gives us the language as well as practice for all staff members. Every staff member is responsible for creating safe, inclusive spaces in our schools. And you can see from this little this diagram that I'm sharing with you from Karen Bradbury, if we practice to speak out against any kind of bias or hate or discrimination, we can start if we are the bystander space on the spectrum, we need to educate ourselves. And so that's what we're doing as a staff. And then now we're practicing to interrupt the behavior when it happens in the moment, so that not only the student who had done the behavior is corrected and understands the why it is harmful to others, but also those who are witness to it too. So our other students also feel safe that the caring adults in their building are doing something really proactive and just, relevant to the time when these behaviors happened. So here's the tool I wanted to share with you. This tool or protocol is what we're using to help us, as I said, address any acts of hate, bias, or discrimination that we are witness to as staff. And the 5 steps are: we interrupt it when we hear it, we identify what it is, and we use the language to help our students understand the why, we are interrupting the behavior. And we would say, for example, you know, hey, you can't say that, that's very transphobic, or that's very ableist, or that's very racist. And we have to identify and explain why it causes harm, not assuming that all students understand the why. The next is to explain, and then further is to ask for change and report. And the ask for change is to let the students know that the expectation is that we are all striving to be better, and now that we know better, we have to do better. And so it's not intended to accelerate immediately into, you know, progressive discipline, suspensions, expulsions, but it is to help all staff be equipped to address behaviors in the moment and help our students correct any inappropriate behaviors in that moment as well. Of course, you know, despite the intent of the person who might be doing the behavior, there's sometimes some great harm. And so all staff have to report. And as a school team, we just talked a little bit about the process that is in place at all HWDSB schools, called a student incident report, that is used, as well as communicating with administrators to help us all be accountable to creating safe and inclusive spaces in our schools. So that's something that we as a team are engaging in and practicing towards. The next part that I'd like to share with you is looking ahead. In June, it's important for all of our students, parents, guardians, caregivers, understand what's going to happen in September. It's a new year, it's a new start, but it's also a great opportunity for our parents and guardians and caregivers to get involved in school council. And that's happening even now, when you can start thinking about it moving forward into September. And so the next few slides I just have to share with you just explains a little bit about the fall elections and the format that it runs. Parent representatives who are interested, and that's not the executive, so chair and vice chair, although those positions will be vacant, and we again welcome our parents to get involved. The minimum membership includes the majority of parents. Membership is not restricted to any number of parents, as well as an employee. HWDSB employee can be a member of the council. And as you know, Kathy Woods is our staff member who's part of our school council team, and myself as an administrator. Our next. There we go. So again, consider forming an election planning committee consisting of parents, teachers, and support staff. And this happens even now in June, but moving into September. And it's important that we plan the election early at this time so that it can take place later in the fall, as late as late September. There is an election plan before your last school council meeting. Now, at this time, we are still inviting parents to partake in the school council so that we can provide some more information, but we think it's important for all parents and guardians and caregivers to understand the process, and so that if they are interested in being part of the committee, as well as the leadership of the school council, that you understand the process. So within the first 30 days of the school year, so by the end of September, we have to submit a date and time for the elections. And we'll advertise it through the website as well as through School Messenger. We'll want to inform all of our parents of all the process for nominations, so that if they're interested and they wish to be nominated for various roles, they can do so. And the process for nominations can be done both electronically, which often an MS Teams form will be sufficient, as well as paper copies too for any parents. From this particular slide, again, it's just referring to the information process, sharing the information, creating a list of candidates, and preparing an election for participating parents, guardians, and caregivers. And then at the end of September, we will hold our election. So more information to come. If you were at all interested in participating on the school council, we welcome you. If you require some assistance in any way, such as language assistance, again, please, contact us at the school. We are happy to provide interpreters to support you. We don't want any barriers for any of our parents to participate. This just explains the elections and the process to make sure that it's confidential and that it is following the process, so that all participants and all parents, and again, guardians and caregivers can participate. And after we announce the elections and allow our parents to participate in the elections, then we announce it through our various school and social media platforms. And that's about it in terms of our elections. So we realize that many parents, they may come aboard and join our meetings virtually, either in person, or they might watch a recording of our meetings. But we do welcome you, and we do wish to receive your feedback and your voice, and so that you also help shape the culture and the climate at Bernie Custis. We have just finished our very first real year. Although on paper it says that we've been open since 2019, and we have, but this has been our first real year where all of our students and staff have been in the building, and we've seen a return of things that we've all enjoyed about the life of school. We've seen the return of school clubs and sports. We've seen events taking place, such as the ones we've shared with you on our presentation, and we look forward to many more exciting events to come. So again, please, we welcome you to join us. If you need some information or supports, or have some questions that you'd like to ask, you'll see the email address there. That's our school email address, and we're happy to support. And we thank you again for being part of our school council meeting today. And I'll turn it over back to Catherine.
All right, thank you, Sonia. I know this is sort of our Q&A time, but so I just wanted to share a couple of questions that I've seen on the Facebook parents group. So
Okay.
Someone had asked about yearbooks, if there will be yearbooks this year and how people order them.
Yes, that's an excellent question. We've just heard from Mr. Glenn McQuestion, who is one of the arts teachers. He is an assistant head of art, and he's the teacher who's overseeing the yearbook. At first, we were looking at only digital format, but it looks like that we're moving towards a print copy. So there will be more details to share, and we will send out that information again through our usual platforms on our school website, and we'll send it a school messenger too for families who wish to have something to remember the very first real year at Bernie Custis.
Oh, that's great. And so, yeah, so if they haven't heard, it doesn't mean that their student just didn't know. So,
No, it's still to come.
And then parents of grade 12s have been asking really just more specifics around graduation. And I assume more information is coming out, but there's been confusion over the time because the original time was, I think, 6. It's
Yeah.
been switched for quite a while, but just that, and because there's no parents from last year to really ask, so probably questions around parking, around what time to be there. Is it possible to get extra tickets if there are any left? Like, I guess just any details that you have to share could be
Yes.
helpful.
Thank you. Absolutely. So we will be sending out some information to our parents with just those specifics as well, in terms of the time it starts. So it starts at 4 o'clock, and what time would parents or families be best to come at. There is parking at the Hamilton Convention Center just across the little walkway in Summer Lane to the building where you go in for the event. So it's paid parking, but there is parking available. We will be sending out more detailed information for our students and their families. And yes, if a student's families need more tickets, please come again to the student services or the guidance office, where we have extra tickets that we can share.
That's great. Those are really the only 2 questions that I've been seeing. And so we can go ahead and end this. So thank you, Sonia, and thank you, Ms. Woods, for being here. And yeah, so yeah, that's it for the year.
Okay, thank you so much. And Catherine, thank you so much for leading the the school council, for being part of events such as, Bernie Night of Lights, and also participating on our urban priority funding steering committee, providing your parent lens and your insight and your connections to the other parents who perhaps for various reasons aren't able to participate in this site or in this space, but you're certainly, you know, advocating for them and sharing their concerns and sharing that back to them. So thank you very much for your leadership this year. And it's been a real treat for me to collaborate with you in our meetings and to get your feedback on various communication pieces, just making sure that our parents are their questions are answered and they're supported. So thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Anyways, thank you everyone, and I will close the event. All righty.
Oh, I'm still here.
You're
Okay,
here.
bye guys.
Okay,
All
thank you
right.
so much.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Have a good evening.